police siren, a place where every scene is a breathtaking life or death moment, where good and evil clash in relentless pursuits. Follow now so you don't miss a single moment, because here, every second can change fate.
Police received reports of unmarked motorcycles traveling recklessly on the streets of Costa Rica, including a motocross bike. The motorcyclist sped in the opposite direction at high speed, disregarding all dangers, risking everything to escape the relentless pursuit of the police. A painful and helpless end for the motorcyclist when the police approached and immediately arrested him. The suspect desperately tried to escape, even deliberately attacking the police and ramming their car. When cornered, the violent collision only heightened the tension, making the situation more dangerous than ever. Fate was decided when he lost control on the curve, crashed into the steps, and suffered serious injuries. The daring escape ended in bitter failure. If you find this video interesting, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel to motivate us to make the next video. In Brazil, youth are no longer associated with dreams, but with sirens and out-of-control wheels, they rebel against speed and crime.
Você vai se machucar, caralho! Você vai se machucar, bacana! Chão! Estica o pé, estica o pé!
When the siren sounds, all that's left is lost youth in dust and regret. Stealing means nothing when you're in prison.
Aqui no bote aqui, filho! Gritar, polícia, socorro! Tô contigo, vai, bicho!
Fear took over, and he sped off, weaving through corners as if darkness could save a desperate man.
闇は犯罪を生むだけでなく未熟な世代全体を葬り去ってしまうのです。
Vai dar. Pega, bicho, pega.
At the last minute, he chose to abandon the car because life, however sinful, was more precious than a few seconds of escape. The young man recklessly drove into the curb at high speed, ignoring the danger lurking around every corner.
Every turn on the motorcycle is a life-or-death challenge. Each daring maneuver is full of danger, not for the faint-hearted.
Finally, he stopped the car, not because he ran out of gas, but because he ran out of road. If you like it, please like and subscribe to the channel. With high speed and reckless driving, the motorcyclist is doing everything to lose the police, despite the imminent danger. The sudden turn was a challenge to the police pursuit, but each bold turn only made the pressure from behind more intense. Unfortunately, the suspect's motorbike suddenly broke down, forcing the police to stop and end the tense chase to ensure safety. Not only did the two men flee, they also deliberately provoked the police, seemingly enjoying the chase more than fearing being caught. Not only did the two men flee, they also deliberately provoked the police, seemingly enjoying the chase more than fearing being caught. People ignore the law, and this young man chose to flee the police on his motorbike.
彼は逃亡中、犯罪は増加中。
This young man, perhaps for the first time, took to flee from the police in fear and despair. But the law does not give way to criminals, and the price of the noble field is inevitable. In the middle of a crowded street in Brazil, a man driving a motorbike with a girl in tow hastily ran away while the police chased closely behind.
Vai apertar ele, vai apertar ele. É motor. Aperta, vai, aperta.
ブラジルではそれはサイレント制御不能に回転する車輪と関連付けられています。
There was a terrible collision, the motorbike flew off, the man and the girl fell onto the road. If it were me, I would choose to stop for safety and the law. Crime among Brazilian youth is on the rise. Street chases are mostly involving young men.
彼は必死に逃げようとした。
Behind every chase is a lost youth. If society does not grab their hands today, tomorrow there may be no one left to save them. Youth should not end behind the wheel and in front of a gun. With just a motorbike, they don't need light. The thieves sneak in the dark, amid the eerie silence of a society all too familiar with the specter of the bad guy.
Pinote.
But no matter how thick the night, the pursuit did not last long. The criminal fell before the wheels of justice. Robberies are on the rise in Brazil. Many young people choose robbery over a future. As night fell, two young men took to the streets to rob, not to go home. After an accident, two young men were arrested. The car stopped, but the youth crime crisis shows no signs of stopping. Before dinner, the police had to rush into a breathless chase with a young man and a white girl, while the young man drove recklessly like a veteran. A violent collision, two bodies thrown onto the road, and now the consequences are the only thing waiting for them ahead. Think about the consequences before doing anything. A breathless chase erupted as the suspect sped through narrow alleys on a motorbike, swerving wildly in a desperate attempt to escape his pursuers. The relentless police pursuit forced the suspects to stop. Their futile excuses only served to highlight the bitter failure of their escape attempt. The stolen motorbike sped away as soon as it spotted the police. The daredevil jumped over sidewalks, weaved through narrow alleys, and took sharp turns to lose his pursuers, creating a thrilling chase that lasted through the night. At a fateful turn, the motorbike lost control and crashed straight into a police barricade. Although the suspect managed to escape, justice was served when the motorbike was recovered and returned to its rightful owner. Between the crowded lanes, the motorbike rushed like a whirlwind, ignoring the police and all dangers. Each swerved like a bold statement. He suddenly turned into a winding alley, abandoned his motorbike, and disappeared into the crowd. Despite police efforts to track him down, he escaped, leaving his motorbike at the scene. The entire city was thrown into chaos as the car swerved dangerously, nearly causing collisions. The suspect accelerated recklessly, ignoring all safety regulations, pushing the situation to the brink of losing control. Under pressure from the police, the car lost control and crashed into the curb. The two suspects immediately jumped out and ran in opposite directions to distract the pursuing force. Even hiding in the shadows, the two suspects could not escape the police. Their recklessness had come at a high price. There was nowhere to hide from justice. With their heads bare and the car speeding away, it was not a question of if, but when the police would catch up with them. With their heads bare and the car speeding, they could run, but they couldn't hide forever. The police just needed time. The question wasn't whether they would be caught, but how long before the siege closed. With their heads bare and their cars running at full throttle, they can run, but they can't hide forever. The police won't give up. It's just a matter of time before they're caught. How long do you think they'll last? Hearing the shout of robbery, the police immediately chased after him. Will the robber escape?
aí, idiota. Para essa bosta! Ô, idiota! Para essa merda aí! Para essa... Para, idiota! Oh, guys! Vai nele, Cocô, vai nele! Sentindo e dá no fundo. Vai cair nesse tabufu, vai cair nesse tabufu. Vai cair nesse tabufu. Hoje não! Hoje não!
The suspect finally stopped the car and surrendered, which is good. If he can't run, he'll stop and eat prison food. Young people without helmets are not afraid of the police. And the ending, please follow.